Coffinverse Unleashed, a company-wide theme overtaking the Coffinverse in 2023.
Hello, boils and ghouls, and welcome to the official sneak peek preview of Lady Death Zombie Tramp, brought to you by Still Ill Princess. Don't get it twisted. Today is a very special day because Dan Mendoza is going to premiere the official animated preview at the end of this stream. So be sure, stay tuned. Without further ado, let me bring him on, the man with the plan, the one and only Dan Mendoza of Still Ill Princess. Dan, what is up?
What's going on, guys? How you been, man?
Life is good. You know, I know we're here the day after July 4th. How did it all go down for you, man?
It was nice. Nice to just blow up shit in my backyard and then just sleep in. It was awesome.
That's the American dream. Well, let's get right into it here. We're all here to get an exclusive sneak peek into your mind and what you're planning for Lady Death Zombie Tramp. And let me set the scene. Lady Death Zombie Tramp is published by Still Ill Princess. So this is all being masterminded by Dan. This is the first time in my history where I have licensed the publishing of the character out maybe in over 25 years. So first up, some people may want to know, well, why the heck would you do that? And I think to answer that, we got to go back in time. And that is before you and I even first met. So how did we first meet, Dan? Do you recall?
Well, there's a couple of meetings, unofficial meetings. One of them was I was probably about 19 or so, and in Orange County there was a little hotel show, and me and my friends were just walking around, and I see this guy with this curly long hair, and his name is Brian Pulido, and he's pimping out this book called Evil Ernie, and then you had like these 11 by 17 Xerox prints that I could buy for like a couple dollars.
Yeah.
You know, and I got an Evil Ernie, and I got a Lady Death one, and I was just like, this Lady Death character is awesome, man. This is so cool. But that was that. And then you fast forward to another convention where I see you walking around. I just Zombie Tramp was taken off. I want to say this is like 2011 or something. Zombie Tramp was taken off. It was a good cult hit. It was doing well in the comic book stores. I see you just walking around in the morning at a show, just looking around before the show opens. And I try to talk to you about it, if you'd be interested in crossovers, and you're like, no. You're like, you're like, oh, he's like, sorry, I don't do that stuff. It's just not for me. And I was like, okay, no problem. And then fast forward again to San Diego Comic-Con. I went to your table, and you were just signing. You were like in the middle of your whole area, and you're just signing things left and right. People are bringing things to you, and there's a Lady Death cosplayer there and all this stuff. And I was already on a high of talking to Kevin Eastman, who was like, this comic book is the best thing. That for Zombie Tramp, he was like, this is the best thing I've seen at this whole show, and he was all about the story and everything like that. And so I was like, well, I'm like, yeah, man, if Kevin Eastman likes it, I'm gonna go talk to Pulido right now. So go talk to you, and you're just like nah.
Oh man.
And then, so then yeah. So then our mutual friend David Harrigan, Art Assassin, I always see him at shows and stuff like that, and we're cool and stuff. And then I always see that he would do Lady Death covers and stuff like that. And I said, hey man, like, if you ever talk to Brian, just let him know I might be interested. I'll be interested in doing a cover. And then that was it, man. You gave me a cover. I'm assuming it did well enough because it just kept asking me for covers, and then I came down to see your studio and all that on one of your Kickstarter launches, and then we just hit it off, and we got to talking about comics and stuff, and now I'm on your radar.
That's right.
So now I'm on your radar. So once that hit, it was kind of like, yeah, I would be interested in doing something. And then I was with a publisher at the time, and then there was a San Diego show where that publisher came to your table and insulted you.
Well,
so
hang on a second. Let's slow this down a little bit. Let's show
right.
actually the first cover that you did.
All right, you got it.
Perspective of the same matter. Like, I'm a comics person, so I'm in my brain about everything. But when David Harrigan said, "Hey, Dan Mendoza's interested in doing a cover," you know, I know Dave, so I was like, okay, let me really zero in on who is this Dan Mendoza guy. And so I looked at your work really for the first time in a sense, and really was able to connect with it. And what I got out of it was, no joke, like, you are a singular talent. Like, how you see the world is your own. It's perfectly realized. So I was knocked out. And it's true. This image that you're seeing is the first official Dan Mendoza Lady Death piece. And of course, it was an incredible seller, but also, again, just a beautiful piece of work. And we have collaborated ever since. Now, you were just about to tell a story about this particular cover. So you and I collabed, and you're the creator of Zombie Tramp. And I said, hey, dude, would it be cool if we homage Zombie Tramp 1? And you said great. So in my mind, the creator said, great, let's go. And then there was the next part of the story. Yeah.
So when you asked me that, I was like, not only do I think that's cool to do the homage, I'm like, I still have the files. So I'm like, the background's the same, everything, you know. But that said publisher came to your table and he was like, oh, you know, this is kind of an infringement, blah, 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 or whatever, you know, whatever he said, blah, blah, blah. And then, and was, you know, trying to get free books off you and whatever. But it was just, and then after that, you were just like, you called me up. I was on my way to San Diego the next day, and you called me up before I left the house. And he was like, this is what happened yesterday. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. Please don't hold me to that. And you're like, no, of course not. And then I go, and I was like, I already knew that you weren't going to be interested in a crossover no more. But then I asked you anyways, and you're like, maybe if you get out of that contract. so then that's what I did. It took 2 years, but we got out of the contract, and you know, we're just going about our business. Me and you just doing Kickstarters, just doing stuff, knocking out characters and stuff. And then was it like last year? You're like, hey, you want to do a call? I'm like, sure. And then you're like, would you be interested in still doing the crossover? And I was like, yeah. You're like, don't say yes, think about it. And I was like, okay. So then the next day I'm like, yeah. But you know what I mean? So it was just really cool. It was just something that's been building for years, man.
I think so. Yeah, it was just sort of natural. I mean, from my perspective, I just have a lot of respect for who you are as a creative person, but also as a publisher, for what you've done, what you've overcome. When that said publisher came up to me and he's being all huffy puffy, you know, I heard what he had to say, but I understood that he had really no grounds. We were doing an homage, which was satirical in intent and purpose, you know, clearly. And I know, I just said for myself, I said, you know, you're going to regret this one day, but you know, you're going to regret having this conversation with me. And I was very happy to support your quest to retain the ownership of your property, because it was yours. That was a very vague agreement. And man, I'm happy that you got liberated, but that's all in the past now. Like what's happening is the present. For me, it's super cool to have peers and contemporaries, and we're all on our own journey, but we're using things like crowdfunding and direct to the customer approach. We're bypassing the old system. So to me, it only seemed logical to get together for this particular project. So let's not make people wait. Let's get into it. But I will remind everyone out there watching, stay to the end, because Dan Mendoza is going to premiere for you the promotional animation for the Lady Death Zombie Tramp crossover. So without further ado, let's get right into this story. The first thing I would like to ask you, Dan, for people who are not familiar with your work, can you talk a little bit about your approach to story? Because I know you come from an animated background.
Yeah, I come from an animation background. You know, growing up on comic books, and I didn't buy my first comic book till like 1988. I had missed the bus. So I ended up walking home and I went to a comic store. But anyways, I was really heavily into comic books, the X-Men run, 1990 stuff, Silver Surfer runs. And then I discovered Japanese manga books, and I discovered anime, and I started watching all this stuff. I started finding any bootleg thing I can, because at the time that stuff, anime didn't really exist in America. You had to find bootlegs. And then my art style started kind of changing. So it would go back and forth from American to Japanese, American to Japanese. And then I started getting more into, I went to animation school. I went to CalArts. It's in Valencia, California. And then I started really getting into certain Disney artists like Glenn Keane and James Baxter, and how they do faces and face expressions and stuff. So I started going more towards that, so then my style just kind of mushed into something. So it's kind of like, after I finished school and I worked for like independent film channel, I did some stuff for MTV, and I was just like, I don't work well with people. Yeah, it was just like, I don't like people telling me what to do, and it's all this crap. And I was like, I got to do something with this art career, because I don't want to have this day job that I have currently. And then so I went back to my love of comics, man. And I'm like, if I'm going to make comics, I'm going to do it the way I want, the kind of stuff that I want to read, which is grindhouse feel, horror movies, things like that. But I want when someone reads my comic book, it looks like they're watching a Saturday morning cartoon. Like, I want that to look animated. I want, nice poppy colors and all that stuff. So it's cute, but it's really violent. That's my stuff.
Man, you heard it from the man. I agree. And that's exactly why I adore the work. Again, there is no other talent to me like Dan Mendoza, that wild combination of Saturday morning cartoon, grindhouse violence, video game, bright colors. So Dan, before we start showing some of the pages, the actual preview, is there anything you want to tease the audience with when it comes to the story of Lady Death versus Zombie Tramp?
Yes, the storyline is, first of all, this is a 50-page book, a one shot. And the storyline is we got a common bad guy that I blurted out. I don't want anybody to see who the main bad guy is for this.
Okay.
The book. And this bad guy is bored with her evil realm, let's say, and all that stuff. And so she decides she wants to pull two representations of death from two different multiverses and make them fight each other for her own entertainment value. And then that's when they find Lady Death, and that's when they find Zombie Tramp. And then they kind of smash them together and force them to survive in order to get back to their own world. So
well, that's great. And again, I've been privy to this project since the beginning. I've read Dan's script. I get to approve the dialogue on Lady Death. And honestly, Dan was like 99% there the whole time. So I think for folks who are Lady Death fans, they're going to find authenticity. Yeah. But for sure, Lady Death is entering into this realm as seen by Dan. So without further ado, let's get into some of the pages. We're going to pull some up and see if you have any comments and what you want to talk about.
This is page one. Some of the pages in this, like, not very many, but like I'll just decide I need to color the whole thing. So I just drew this and colored this page. This is page one. This is the main villain dialoguing of their plan of what they're gonna do and stuff. So he's got some cool, like, little slicing open portal kind of stuff.
Oh, cool. Like a hole in the sky ripping the universes apart.
Yeah. Yes.
That's cool. You just tell us when you want us to advance the page.
Okay. Next.
Here we go.
So what I want to do with this is that I'm going into it knowing that there's going to be people on your side of Coffin Comics, your fans, that never have read Zombie Tramp. Yeah. And then it's going to be vice versa, my fans that never read Lady Death. Sure. So what I did is that I made intros of each character. So this is like one of the first pages. We're going to intro Janie Bell, who is Zombie Tramp. We're going to intro. So you get to kind of get a feel for what kind of a person she is, and, what kind of, what's her style of just life and everything like that. So we get that setting. and you go next. So you got, a little bit of things here. You got, how violent she is, like very, very grindhousey, very like over the top slasher kind of stuff. You go next. Yes. And then this is like her just doing her daily life basically. And then, and then she gets pulled into her portal. So he gets pulled into so you can go next now. And now I did an intro for the same reason of Lady Death. Like, let's put Lady Death, into like her hell realm and killing off, hellborns and all these other things like demons and stuff. So you got her just doing her thing, feeding that blade of hers, who's
That's
just
right.
so thirsty. So
yeah, and of course the whole book will be 100% in color. We're just getting the treat of getting to see some of the work.
There's way more color pages that I'm only going to show you guys a couple today. And then, so there's a nice full color page of Lady Death just slaying it, man. Yeah.
The one thing I would say too for Lady Death fans out there, that Dan has done nothing but show complete respect to Lady Death. I even got to see the fight scene, which I don't think you're going to get to see, but of course my direction, and I didn't give a lot of direction, but the character has to be the character, and we can never show her being disrespected. So Dan has really shown Lady Death truly as the boss that she is.
And that was one of the things, like I gave you basically the whole script, but I said, but these pages I freestyle. I don't write them. So I usually freestyle my fights. So I did the pages and just sent you the roughs, and with I hand wrote the little word balloons of what they're saying. You know what I mean? But yeah. So this is Lady Death doing her thing. I really love that she can teleport him through blood. I mean, I think that's so freaking cool. It reminds me because Zombie Tramp can go teleport through her own hair, which is kind of a thing, So it's pretty cool. Next.
Yeah, there you can see Lady Death has just finished the mission, and she's
going after the very last guy right here, and right before she takes her slice, she gets pulled into the portal. All right, next. So this is just another page of just they're in that world now that they got pulled into. This is before Lady Death even shows up, and you got Zombie Tramp already just having to deal with little vermin and things that are around that world. So next. This is Lady Death has already shown up, and they already have beef. They're both accusing each other, like, you brought me here, no, you brought me here, kind of thing. Like, they don't, it's like they don't even want a reason. They're just pissed, so they're just they start going at it.
Yeah, that's who both characters are. That makes perfect sense.
So you got a couple things here. I won't tell you what all that gross splattery stuff is. I'll show you later. But you just got just a little bit, just some smack talking going on. And then you can see that's mosaicked because I will not show the main villain of this book. But that's basically, she's basically telling them this is the way it's going to be. If you want to get out of here, this is what you got to do. So they're kind of like listening to her and facing off.
So I think for longtime Dan readers, I get the sense that this villain reveal is going to be tantalizing, exciting for everybody, all readers.
Yeah. All right, we got a little bit of, conjuring that Oblivion sword, man, pulling it out.
Yeah.
They're starting their beef, their face off right here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so you got your Zombie Tramp that goes in and out of her hair a lot, so, yeah. And then, she has to pull out her book. That's her weapon of choice is her book of beasts. They call it. It used to be called the Necronomicon, but later on is kind of like she knows that it is her book of beasts. Like, it's filled with all the spells and everything she needs to know about any monster that ever existed, and so she can kind of communicate it telepathically. Her and the book are one. So. And that's her just getting that ready. So next.
Yeah, I think this is great for both readerships. I believe that Lady Death readers are going to learn about Zombie Tramp. Zombie Tramp readers are going to learn about Lady Death. And, the two really the two characters complement each other.
Yeah. And they both, and their magic powers are both blue. So it's kind of like, I'm like, oh, that's easy. Just we don't have to have no Star Wars blue versus red or anything like that, But this is them just starting to go at it. She's pulling out a little demon elemental to do her bidding out of the book. All right, next. Yeah, so the big clash, explosions. Okay, now we're starting to see that cape getting ripped up. You know, we got Zombie Tramp just going evil and starting to do her fiendish things, her dirty fighting that she does. All right, next. And then, yeah, it's just a little bit. You know, she just pulls no punches. She's all about biting and clawing, man. She has no. That's one of the things right here is there's an internal dialogue of Lady Death, basically saying this person I'm fighting has no training whatsoever, has no fighting training whatsoever. She's just a brawler. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she is impressed by the amount of power that she has. So yeah. All right, next.
And so that's actually the end of the teaser.
That's all you guys get, man.
Yeah, so that cues it up for that clash.
Yeah, that was 17 pages, guys.
17 pages of the overall 50 plus pages.
Yes, I'm on page 33 right now, currently.
That's amazing. So you've gotten a preview of the book, and of course, again, stay tuned because near the end of this broadcast, we'll have one or two folks who are on the stream will be able to answer our questionnaires, but you're going to get to see Dan Mendoza premiere the promotional animation that he made for this crossover. So stay tuned. But before we get into that, let's start talking about the Kickstarter campaign itself. The one thing that we know and that we're talking about is this Kickstarter campaign is coming from Still Ill Princess, and it launches on November 3rd of this year. Yeah. What else can people expect during this campaign? Do you have any cover artist reveals? Is there any merch? What do people?
We got our cover artists. We got Catwoman's Jim Ballant. We got Ale Garza. We got Mike DeBaffo. We got Jose Varese.
Wow.
We got a couple people on my side that Coffin Comics has never seen, like Elsa Villa.
Great.
We got Lyrics.
That's great.
Yeah, so we got it's about 20 different artists.
That's awesome.
We have Ariel Diaz for the first time. We're trying her out.
That's awesome.
Her stuff is coming around so well, you know.
I agree. I met Ariel in person last San Diego, but I really noticed her work really pop last fall.
Evolved. Yes.
Yeah, met her again at Phoenix Comic-Con no less than a month ago, and I guess we're both kind of breaking some news here, but we're also brought her on board for some covers as well.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I've always admired about your Kickstarter campaigns is a lot of the cover artists that you associate yourself with is just a unique vision, and a cover artist like El Sevilla, and actually just your whole stable of artists, I think are so rad. And so I'm very excited to see how that's all going to turn out.
And as far as we like to do, this is a Still Ill Comics project, as Brian keeps saying. So you're going to get that kind of merch. We're going to get a body pillow. We're going to get the Lady Death Zombie Tramp hoodie.
Nice.
And what we're going to do is we're probably going to do it all white, like all black hoodie, which is white ink.
Nice.
So we're gonna do them back to back, right where you zip down, you know, and then on the back, we're gonna make it look like a concert tour.
Oh, cool!
So everybody that gets that, we're gonna have you in the backer kit put your hometown, so we can just put it like that was the tour.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're gonna do stuff like that. Body pillows, that you guys never have done. We got acrylic stands, of course, that are just so collectible and fun. And we also always do animated flip books. So just keep in mind, guys, that when we show this minute and a half cool teaser trailer of the Kickstarter, that some parts of those are going to be available as a flip book for you guys to buy, and it's really cool. So.
Well, that's amazing. This campaign sounds distinctly Still Ill. I'm as excited as anybody. The body pillow thing, we talked about in person, and I'm like, hey man, it's a Still Ill campaign. Let's just, let your freak flag fly. Enjoy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So this is what I wanted to do before we actually show the premiere your animated piece. Let's just check the stream and see if there's one or two questions that we can answer. So we're having Jimmy Coffin take a look, and see if there's any questions out there or comments. I see a lot of folks making some comments. If there's any questions about the campaign.
I got one right here. Scott Phelps says, a challenge coin with Lady Death and ZT would be sick. Yes, we are going to have a challenge coin. One side Lady Death, one side Zombie Tramp. Yes.
There you go. Now you've heard it here. That's another premiere. This is exciting. It's as exciting for me as it is for everybody else. Any final questions before we premiere for you the brand new animation overseen by Dan Mendoza?
Just before we show the animation, we got to give a shout out to the Zong brothers. Every Kickstarter campaign we do, we always have a little animated teaser. This is the longest one they've ever done. We always do something that's only like 20 seconds or 15 seconds. This is the longest one they've ever done. They do great covers for us. We're pleased to announce that they are going to be doing a book for us next year, which is Zombie Tramp versus Sugar Pop, our two best characters in the Still universe. And their animation is amazing. I can't give them props enough for this great thing you guys are about to see. So,
well, I think without further ado, let's do it. Let's show the animation completely overseen by Dan and animated by the Zong brothers.
Storyboarded by me.
That's right.
There you go.
Dan, action.
Hey, Mikey, did you do your homework yet? I need you to take out the trash, too.
Is that all you got? You look like you're ready to die.
Lick my boots, dead girl.
Well, there you've seen it, folks. The premiere. Holy mackerel, you guys have outdone yourself.
Yeah, they are amazing, man. They're awesome.
I would also like to say, for those of you who are interested, there were some very special voiceover artists for this animation. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Dan?
After we were getting the script done and I got to start, get the Zong brothers started on this animation. I know animation takes a long time. I had an idea. I said, Brian, do you think that Fran would be interested in doing a voiceover of Lady Death, and my wife Nightmare Lynch will do the voiceover of Zombie Tramp, and then we'll have the wives be our favorite girl characters that we own, and it'll be so awesome. And yeah, Fran was down, man. And that recording studio outtakes were the best.
Dude, that should be like a stretch goal, is like the audio outtakes.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, if we get permission from the ladies, because there was a lot of conversation going on.
Yeah, it was. The Fran one is a lot, like a lot of footage. Nightmares is just she just recorded it on her iPhone and just sent me audio. So so it's just a couple things. I was like, done.
Yeah, we made it a whole production.
You guys gave me way more than enough.
Well, folks, I can't believe that it's close to already a half hour. Time flies.
It does.
So in wrapping up this very special pre-San Diego Comic-Con preview, Dan, is there anything you want to say to folks out there?
Just keep a watchful eye over this campaign. While you guys are waiting for the campaign to start, stay tuned for the 28th of this month for Cannibal Kitty 5 on Kickstarter. And that's about
right on. And then on the Coffin Comics end, we are going to promote the heck out of Lady Death versus Zombie Tramp. So if you haven't, go to coffincomics.com and sign up for our mailing list, where on a weekly basis, we're talking about the latest news. I'd imagine, too, Still Ill Princess has its own newsletter. Get on it. Get on it so you get to know. Dan, I want to thank you so much for sparing time on your hangover day.
Yeah, man. 5th, that's what July 5th is all about.
That's right. So thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who's watching this. Please like and share both companies' social media. Please share this. Get the word out about the independent comic book crossover of the decade. Lady Death versus Zombie Tramp.
Yes.
You guys have been great. We've been with Dan Mendoza. I'm Brian Pulido, and we're going to sign off. Thank you so much, everybody. Holler at you later.
Swarmfest, Swarmfest, Swarmfest. Swarmfest, the global gathering for Coffin Comics Feed and the Swarm, featuring exclusive party, artist, signings, commission, panels, beer, food, coffee, alcohol, tours of HQV2, trading posts, CGC, friendship, community, camaraderie, shenanigans, insanity, and more.
Plan ahead. Be there.
Tickets and details on sale now at coffincomicsshop.com. Presented by Coffin Comics. Swarmfest. February 23rd through 25th, 2024. Mesa, Arizona, USA. Swarm.